Hello folks, and today we're looking at how to paint a Stegadon. So first of all, you want to prime your model using Macragge Blue, and that's a GW spray that you can get. And then we're just doing some white highlights on a Stegadon himself. Now there is a little bit of sub-assembly here, but that's so we can paint the Stegadon quicker. Now on the bottom part of the model, I am using Imperial Blue from Vallejo. It's quite a dark blue, and I'm not sure whether that was the right blue that I should have used, but that's what I've used, so that's what it is. So after I've done that, I am using Magic Blue on the higher up, so on sort of the second half, the top of the Stegadon, and I think that actually brought the model all together. I think that looks really good. Just take your time with it. You don't have to do it all in one go. Just yeah, try it out to make sure it looks good. Just take your time with it, and you don't need to rush it. So on all of these parts where we're going to have all the skink standing, I thought it'd be a lot easier to have it as a sub-assembly, and I am priming all of these Retributor armor. Now, if you have Retributor armor spray at home, that would make it a lot easier. However, I didn't have Retributor armor at home, so I basically ended up getting some Retributor armor, putting it in my airbrush, thinning it down, and then just firing it through that. Now you may need to do 2 thin coats for this one. For the base, to match with the rest of our army that we have, we're using Rhinox hide, and once again we've thinned it down. It can be any thinner. You can use the Games Workshop thinners that you can easily get. I believe in this instance I used the Vallejo thinner from a little dropper bowl. If you end up getting any of it on the blue, don't worry too much. It sort of looks like he's walking through the mud that way. So we did the highlight over the Rhinox hide with Beastie Brown, and Beastie Brown is a paint from Vallejo. Now the skinks we've done separately. If you need to see how we've done the skinks, there is a separate video on how to paint skinks, but generally speaking, all it is black followed by a white highlight followed by light sea blue from Vallejo. And here what we were doing is putting Gulliman blue glaze all over the scales, and that's the scales on the skinks as well as our Stegadon. As you can see, I have put the little throne parts on top and the red shields that I've done. You can also see how they're done in a skink video that I've done, but generally speaking, it's black followed by a white highlight followed by fire red. So all the gold parts we're now shading with Reikland Flesh Shade. It's a really, really good shade for the golden bits. Spear, we're painting Lead Belcher from Games Workshop. And eyes, we're using Avalon Sunset. Just try to be really careful with it, because if you get it on the blue, it's just a bit of a pain to touch it up. There we go. As you can see, I did the black shields, and then I'm doing the white highlight followed by fire red. I wasn't sure if I had it in the video, so I do apologise for repeating myself. So now we're just doing a dry brush all over the gold. In this case, I've used Retributor armor, and just dry brushed it all over the golden parts. I decided that the scales needed to be a little bit more 3D, so in this case I have used Longbeard Grey. And whilst we were on the topic of dry brushing, I did dry brushing of Tyrant Skull on the base. The horns and any of the claws and teeth that you may have on your Stegadon, as well as your skinks, I've used Xandri Dust for it. Other tongue on the skinks as well as the Stegadon, we've used Warlord Purple. I believe this is one of the older colours from GW, but you can use any other alternative that you can find. The wooden beams that the golden platforms are on, I have used Doomball Brown, and that's once again to match with the rest of my army. So we wanted to add a bit of depth to all these bony parts that we've done. So I've used Agrax Earthshade, I've thinned it down with some thinner, and I've applied it to all the bone parts. So here we're just using some Steel Legion Drab. So the silver parts we're using Lead Belcher, same as we did with the spear, and the gold we used obviously the Retributor armor, same with our platform. There are some gems on the Stegadon, so we're working through some gems by using Corn Red as the first colour. Just take your time with it, you don't want to try and get it on the gold if possible. I was jumping a bit ahead of myself as per usual, so I ended up doing the rim of the base with the bad and black. I just visually like, it makes the model look a lot more done than what it actually is, so I end up doing it a lot earlier than what I should. So we're just doing some flocking, putting some tufts on, and that's how we usually do, is just put some PVA on and then just sprinkle the flock on top. The second layer that we're doing for our gems is going to be Mephiston Red. Third layer that we're doing is going to be Vermilion from Vallejo. And this time this isn't actually an airbrush paint, this is actually one of the non-airbrush paints that I own from Vallejo. One of the very few. And the fourth and final highlight that we're doing on the gem, using the Vallejo Hot Orange. And this is the final touch for our gems, where we're using Corax White, and we're just putting a white dot in the upper right corner of our gem, and it really, 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 really makes it come to life. Yeah, so we've got a couple of bits and bobs on our skinks, on our weapons, and once again we're using Retributor armor, and that's sort of to bring the whole model together to make sure there isn't, too much variety, because the arm is colourful itself, so you need to have colours, repetitive colours, which will bring the whole army together. And in this instance, it's black, gold, silver, and you've got the Xandri Dust, so the bony parts, and the tongues, they're always all matching on all the models. So yeah, here we're just using Xandri Dust. So now we're shading all the silver parts using Null Oil. Here we've used some Agrax Earthshade, we've thinned it down, and we're just putting that all over our claws and teeth. Followed by a dry brush of Necron Compound on the silver bits. Over all the gold parts we have used Viking Flesh Shade. And we're just using that to add a bit of depth to everything. the first highlight on our gold is going to be auric armor gold. Second highlight will be liberator gold, and then after we've done that, on all the sharpest edges we're going to be using stormhost silver. I'm not really sure if you can see it on the video, but yeah, we're just working on the stormhost silver right now. Just take your time with it, you don't need to rush. Just work on it slowly, bit by bit. So highlight on all the claws of our skinks and the teeth. We're going to be using a Shapty bone. So here is a complete model of our Stegadon that we've done. I thought it turned out great. There was a couple of more bits and bobs that I could have worked on, but I can always go back to it. That's the idea with it. So thank you for watching, really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye.